Hey guys, welcome back to the 12th part of my series previewing the 2020-21 NBA season. And today we're talking about the Indiana Pacers. So, last season, the Pacers finished with a 45-28 record. This was good enough for the 4th seed in the East. And in the playoffs, they were disappointingly swept in the first round by the Miami Heat. And this was just not a great series for the Pacers in any way, and they ended up firing their coach, Nate McMillan, after it. And then this offseason, after a pretty disappointing season, but I'm not too sure what they expected, they did absolutely nothing of significance. Like, seriously. This was not due to a lack of trying, though, because all offseason there was Oladipo trade rumors, but nothing came of that. And then there was also rumors that they were trying to get Gordon Hayward on a sign and trade. There was rumors of Miles Turner going to the Celtics or Doug McDermott or a combination of the two, but nothing ended up happening. So they're sort of stuck with the same roster. I mean, they could be making some trades, but nothing has happened yet. So if we look at a predicted lineup for the season, it could be Malcolm Brogdon, Victor Oladipo, T.J. Warren, Domantas Sabonis, and Miles Turner. So Malcolm Brogdon, of course, last year was his first year in Indiana, and he was getting a little bit of All-Star buzz around the All-Star break. He ended up cooling off near the end of the season, and he finished averaging 16 points, 4 rebounds, and 7 assists. His efficiency wasn't great, as he had a bigger role in the offense, and he was just handling the ball more and shooting tougher shots. But still a really good player, and a player that I'm a fan of, and I think it's quite underrated. He's also a good defender, so he's going to be solid for them this season for sure. And his scoring might drop off a little bit with Oladipo coming back and playing more and hopefully getting back to his old self, but still a really good player, Malcolm Brogdon. Speaking of Oladipo, at the 2 guard, last season he was injured and he was kind of playing then not playing, and it was a whole weird situation, but he ended up only averaging 14 points a game, but obviously we know he's capable of much more. I think he can average about like 22, 5 and 5, and the Pacers really need him to step up if they're not going to sort of fall into irrelevance. So they'll really be hoping that he'll be back to his best or near his best this season. And if he is, a Brogdon Oladipo backcourt could be really well balanced and really good defensively, because those guys are both good defenders when they're at their best. So we'll see about that. They also have T.J. Warren, who turned into Michael Jordan for a bit of the bubble. I mean, he was just going off, but overall, still a very good player, averaging 20 points a game, my bad. And he's just a really good scorer and someone who can put points on the board. I wonder if his numbers might go down a bit with Oladipo coming back and playing a bit more and all that, but still a good player, and to think they got him for basically for nothing from the Suns, that's gotta hurt for Suns fans, but just proof that the Pacers are just a smart organization, and Warren's is a good player for them, and I predict he'll continue to be a good player for them. Finally, at power forward, Domantas Sabonis, probably their best player. I mean, we'll have to see with Oladipo, but last season averaged about 19 points, 12 rebounds, and 5 assists. Was named an All-Star, and he's just a great scorer on the inside, good rebounder, bit of a throwback big guy, can really do the lot inside and in the paint, and yeah, just a really solid player. We'll see how well he plays this season. I think he'll continue to play well and will be in the All-Star mix again. And finally, they have Miles Turner, who, is sort of preventing Sabonis from playing center, and the NBA has really done a 180 on Miles Turner, because before he was a 3-point shooter as a center and someone who could block shots and protect the rim, and last season only 12 points a game, 6 rebounds, really struggled. He's now a so-so shooter. I still think he's a good shooter, but he's not like Porzingis. And defensively, I mean, he's all right, but in the first round, we saw he was getting exposed by Bam Adebayo, and he consistently gets bullied by the best centers in the NBA, like Joel Embiid. Every time the Pacers play the 76ers, you can pencil in Embiid getting 40 points. So that's really a problem, and obviously they're trying to move him this offseason for Gordon Hayward. They couldn't get that done. So his minutes might be reduced a bit in order to play Domantas Sabonis more at the center position, and then just get another shooter, another perimeter skilled player who can pass, shoot, and dribble on the floor. So we'll see what happens with Turner this season, but his stock has certainly dropped, and I'm less optimistic about him than I was before. But overall, this is a really solid lineup with 5 really good players. And then off the bench, they have Aaron Holiday, who is just a solid all-round player. Him and T.J. McConnell, the backup point guards, and can play a bit of 2 too. Just all-round solid. They also have Jeremy Lamb, who was injured last season. Don't know if he's fully healthy, but if so, he can really help them out, and he could be that player if Sabonis moves to the 5 to come into the starting lineup for Miles Turner. Averaged about 13 points a game, just a really solid player, in my opinion. Hopefully he's back and looking all right after that injury. And they also have the other Holiday brother, Justin Holiday, who is also just a solid player, can get you about 8 points a game, that type of thing. They also have Doug McDermott, who is also rumored with Turner to be moved to the Celtics for Gordon Hayward. That didn't happen. He's a really good shooter. He could also come into the starting line for Turner and just provide some more shooting in the starting lineup. Because while the Pacers have like a solid shooting lineup, they don't have like a knockdown guy. Not that Doug McDermott is that level of shooter, but he's a really good shooter. And then at center, they don't really need a backup center since either Sabonis or Turner can both play the center, and that's where they're both at their best. So they have Goga Badatse, their rookie from last season, but we'll see, because how many minutes he gets. He didn't get many minutes this season, just because they have Turner and Sabonis, so they don't really need a center. But overall, they have a pretty solid bench unit. And for the positive of this team, this is just a solid all-round team. A lot of good NBA players. They're always a good defensive team. And they also have a good balance in their team, I feel, between offense, defense, shooting, scoring inside, mid-range, just all those types of things. They're quite a well-balanced team, to be fair. And then if Oladipo can get back to his healthy self, that'd be a huge boost for them and could really boost them up into like a higher tier of NBA team and just a better team in general. Also Sabonis, if he can continue to develop and take the next step again, he can really be a good player for them. So a few things to be optimistic about this team. Some negatives, if they don't really have that star, like they don't have Durant or Tatum or Giannis. They don't have that player who can really carry you. So they're sort of stuck in NBA purgatory a bit, where they're not good enough to be contending for a championship, but they're not bad enough to be getting a good pick, and drafting a superstar. So they're sort of in a weird position where they're kind of stuck in the middle, and that's not really where you want to be. I would say they're a bit closer to being a good team than they are to being a bad team, but that's really not great for them, and they'll really be hoping that Oladipo can return to his best, because that he is their star and he can really help them out. So yeah, a solid team around the Pacers, but don't really have the star or that could take them to the next level. So as for where they'll finish, some people have been saying that maybe they could drop out of the playoffs, obviously with the Wizards getting Westbrook and the Hawks getting better this offseason, but I don't see it happening. I think they're too solid, a too good team. So I'm going to predict they're going to be the 7th seed. Anyways, thanks for watching, guys.